Alrighty, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Tuesday, April the 21st. We have a bit of red folder news coming to this morning. Overall, markets are gravitating towards the upside here. So we'll kind of talk about what's going on here in the pre-market. As for yesterday, really not too much that occurred. We kind of had an inside bar day or just kind of consolidating in between its previous day's range. The higher time frames are still very much intact. What's up, everyone? Good morning. Let me pull up the economic calendar. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning, B Roots. Thanks, I put Elena in your calendar for the next meetup. Yeah, we'll probably have a meetup somewhere. I can't remember. Sorry, I don't know exactly where the next meetup is going to be, but I went to Atlanta last year. Atlanta's actually a good spot. I don't mind it. People's nice, food's good. Atlanta is a good spot. What's up, Andy, Michael, Martin? Good morning, P1, Victor. Good morning, Maria, Cody. What's up, Knight, Marcus, Trader. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Hustle50. Good morning, Robert, Gerald, Vate, TW, Lamit, Cinna. What's up, everyone? Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's go over the economic calendar. As I mentioned, we do have some red folder news coming into market open. We do have, of course, a couple of things to keep an eye out for. So number one, right, we kind of have the ongoing war news right now. We had some news yesterday, or sorry, over the weekend. And then we have a bit more news kind of dropping. We do also have that peace deal coming into effect, which is going to be tomorrow. So that was that 2-week ceasefire that we talked about. That was a couple weeks ago, but now we extended the deadline for 2 weeks. So the deadline is coming up again. I think that's going to be tomorrow on Wednesday. So I do expect some sort of announcement coming out fairly soon. As for some red folder news events today, right, 8:30, we do have core retail sales month over month. We have the retail sales month over month. President Trump is going to be speaking also at 8:30. And then at 10 a.m., we do have Fed chair testifying, the new Fed chair, which is going to be fairly important here as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that coming to market open. So this is what we have for the economic calendar coming to market open here today. Of course, tomorrow, as I talked about, I'll give you guys some more information on this as well, on that essentially 2-week peace deal. And then on Thursday, we do have unemployment that is going to be at 8:30, flash services. And then, of course, on Friday, we do have the revised consumer sentiment. All right, with that being said, let's kind of talk about the charts. Currently, we are gravitating towards our last week's highs here, which is our Friday's highs. We also filled the gap yesterday, and now you can see we're kind of slowly gravitating towards the upside here as well. So we'll talk about that here. Let me pull up the earnings calendar as well. There are a couple of earnings to keep an eye out for. Starting off with Tesla, that is going to be tomorrow. So most likely, as you can see, Tesla ended up rejecting off key levels. So not expecting too much today plus tomorrow pre-earnings. But this is really going to be the major earnings major earnings for this week. And then, of course, we do have Intel as well, which is going to be on Thursday. So these are the big two earnings this week. And then there's a bunch of bigger earnings next week, which is going to be fairly important here for the markets. But let's first start off with the SPY. So as you can see here, previous day lows ended up holding, and now we are gravitating back towards the upside here. Let's first start off on the weekly time frame. So looking at this here, maintaining structure on the weekly time frame, higher lows are being built. Daily chart, what you have here is that gap fill that is being held as well. So for the SPY, inside bar day here on the daily time frame, now what we can expect is continuation back towards the upside, right? Whenever we have an inside bar day, right, break above, continuation towards the upside, break below, we can see this potential gap fill back down in towards that 700. In this case here for the SPY, you can see we're currently breaking it towards the upside. The key levels that I do have marked out is going to be our previous day lows, which as you can see held very nicely. This is also our Friday's lows here as well. So price ended up actually filling the gap coming into market open, coming back down in towards that previous day lows, and then kind of just consolidated here. Now you can see in the overnight session, we are gravitating up in towards that last week's highs. So coming to market open here, what we're going to keep an eye out for is that 712, multiple touches around this general area. If you do want to see continuation, there's really going to be two scenarios coming into market open. Number one scenario, break above our last week's highs, which is our 712, hold above our 712, continuation up in towards our 715. Another possible scenario, rejection here off that 712, bounce play here for that continuation back up and towards that 713 here as well. So this is what we have for the SPY. Really, these are the two long scenarios, either that previous day highs hold or that retest off of our 712 for continuation. So this is what I have for upside. As I mentioned, really the game plan has still been intact every single day, right? We're just going to be looking for any sort of major dips that we have in the markets to look for continuation towards the highs, right? Until the market flips or until we break structure on the higher time frames, as long as we maintain above key levels, we're going to be looking for major dips for continuation here, of course. So this is what we have for the SPY coming to market open. As for the ES, very similar thesis. As you can see here, we created this gap over the weekend. What we want to see was that gap fill. You can see price gravitating up and towards that gap fill. Yesterday, we ended up coming back down, retesting that 71.20, which of course is that low that we created here on Friday. Now you can see we're getting this nice push up in towards our last week's highs. So coming into market open here, similar thesis on the ES. If we do want to see upside above our now it's going to be that 71.80 for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario here, bounce off our previous day highs, hold above our previous day highs for that continued push up in towards that last week's highs and above. One thing to keep in mind, at least coming into this week, we do have this gap, plus we are coming into key resistance. Of course, I am leaning more bullish, but we are gapping up here. So keep in mind that we could very much well break above our last week's highs. If we break back underneath, we could see this potential kind of rejection in a reversal play. But as long as we maintain above key levels. So if price, let's say, for example, pops above our last week's highs, strong sellers step in, and we have a big rejection here, potentially we can be looking for this flip off that 712 back down in towards that previous day highs, along with our gap fill, which is going to be the 708. So this is something to keep an eye out for, right? I am leaning still very much towards the upside. I would look for major dips, but if we do reject off this level, potentially we can just look for a mini mean reversion back down in towards that 710. All right, now let's go on to the QQQ. Let me just grab some water quick. All right, as for the QQQ, let's go on to the weekly time frame. As you can see, weekly maintaining above our previous all-time highs. Daily chart, as you can see right here as well. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 640. See, so far we're actually kind of gravitating, holding that gap, as you can see here, and pushing back towards the upside. So if we zoom in here on the daily time frame, for the QQQ yesterday, filled the gap towards the lows, also bounced off of our Thursday's highs, and now you can see this lower wick, and you can see this candle close here on the daily chart. And now we're already back up and towards our last week's highs. So let's go into the lower time frames here. The key levels that I do have on the QQQ. In this case, what I have here is our previous day lows, which basically coincides with our Thursday's highs of last week. And then we also, of course, had our Friday's lows and our Friday's highs marked out. So coming into today here for the Qs, we end up filling its gap that we had, gravitated down in towards that previous day lows, 644. And you can see buyers basically stepped in off that level, and now we're continuing back up in towards our 650. So coming into market open here on the QQQ, very similar game plan along with the SPY. If we do want to see upside above our 650, hold above our 650 for continuation. Another possible scenario here is going to be the hold above our previous day highs. So if we break below, right, maintain above that previous day highs general area, 648. We can see this nice reclaim for this pushback up in towards that 650 and above. What I'd like to see now is just the hold above really that 650 for that next continuation towards the upside here on the major indices. Qs is leading the markets here. So if you do want to see some downside, potential kind of rejection here off that 650, we do have a very small gap back down in towards that previous day close, 647. So this is a small gap that we do have. So this could fill coming into today. But I would like to see, right, continuation. Now it's going to be above 650 here on the Qs. As for the NQ, very similar thesis. Now markets are gravitating back up and towards our last week's highs. You can see a little bit of reaction here in the pre-market. If we do reject off this area, then we can see a push down in towards that previous day close. Now it's going to be that 26,750. If we do want to see upside coming into today, it's going to be above our previous day highs along with our last week's highs. So two scenarios. If it rejects, right, reclaim later into the day, or if we have strong buyers right off the bat, we can be looking for a retest above our last week's highs. So this is what we have coming into market open here on both the SPY and the Qs. Now the key level is just going to be that previous day highs along with our last week's highs coming to market open. Higher time frame still very much intact, so we can expect some more upside here on the overall markets. If we're looking at this on an hourly time frame perspective, as you can see, very much still bullish. Price could even come all the way back down towards our 706 and still be bullish for a continuation higher. So just based off the based off the hourly time frame, right, the next continuation level is actually going to be above our 712 for continuation. If it breaks back underneath, kind of consolidates here, right, still valid, but the best and the next best, the breaker structure is of course going to be above 712 for continuation towards the upside. Okay, with that being said, let's go on to the SMH and we'll go into the IWM here in a second. We do have a bunch of charts to go over today here as well, since a lot of these ones had inside bar day or consolidating yesterday. So if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. All right, what's up everyone? Good morning. All right, let's go on to the SMH. As you can see, every single daily candle so far is being bought up. Higher lows are being made. We also have this daily gap, which as you can see so far is being defended here. And now we're gravitating towards the upside. Key levels that we have on the SMH is now going to be our previous day highs, which we already previously had marked out. And we also had the low that we created, which was another low here from Friday. So as you can see here, basically consolidating in between that 460 along with that 465. Nice break above that level. Now let's see if we can get that continuation above that 466. So hold above our 466 for a push up in towards 468 and our 470 and above here. So that's what we have on SMH coming to market open. Really the only scenario that I have: hold above our previous day highs, hold above our Friday's highs as well. So that's what we're going to be looking for on the SMH coming into market open. If you go into the IWM, similar kind of thesis here, held our previous day lows, nice continuation up and towards our last week's highs, currently above our 277. So what I would like to see coming to market open, that's also our all-time highs here as well. I would like to see the bounce hold for that continuation up in towards the pre-market highs and above. So that's what we have for the IWM coming into market open here now. Let's go on to some tech names that I do have, starting off with Tesla. As you can see here, Tesla does have earnings coming up. This is going to be tomorrow after close, so not expecting too much pre-earnings now on Tesla. The key levels that we did have marked out was that 408 that we end up having a nice kind of pop and fade coming to market open. Sellers stepped in here off that 408 yesterday, and then we end up gravitating all the way back down in towards our low that we created here on Friday. And now you can see we're just kind of consolidating around this general area. So based off of the 15-minute, based off the hourly time frame, we're still bullish here, but of course we're getting some sellers kind of stepping in here off that 408. We do have earnings coming up, so not expecting too much here on Tesla. Right, key level is going to be that previous day lows, 394. If we do want to see some upside, you see this mean reversion here off that 394, push back up and towards our 400 is in play. If we do break underneath that 394, hold underneath, then we can see a push back down in towards that previous day lows. But Tesla is, for me, going to be hands off coming into, of course, earnings tomorrow. Just going to be a little bit more patient and just wait for an after earnings trade on this one. Nvidia, let's talk about this one. Higher lows are being built, higher time frame still very much intact. Nvidia is one of my favorite names for an all-time highs move. So keep an eye out on Nvidia, right? Based off the higher time frames, right? You can be looking for a swing position, right? You can be looking for any sort of major dips for an all-time highs move plus continuation. Kind of similar thing it did, right? This was, let's go into the higher time frames. Basically, we consolidated. This was a bigger range, but then we end up having that nice continue push towards the upside. Now, as you can see for Nvidia, right, consolidation finally breaking outside here on the weekly time frame. Next level, of course, is going to be that all-time highs. So you can expect Nvidia to gravitate up and towards that 210. So higher lows are being built here on the weekly time frame. Daily chart, nice strong candle close. Now we're seeing some buyers step in above this 195. Now the next level, as you can see, is going to be that all-time highs 212 on the higher time frames. As for the key levels coming to market open, what we do have marked out is, of course, going to be that 202, which in this case is our previous day highs. We also have our 200 key strike level here as well. So if you do want to see continuation today on Nvidia, maintain above our 202 previous day highs along with our last week's highs for continuation towards the upside here. So that's going to be the number one scenario, previous day highs. It's kind of this general area. There's more touches. It's also your Friday's highs here as well. You can even extend it up in towards that 202, or sorry, the exact previous day highs if you like. But this is going to be my key area for continuation. Another possible scenario above our pre-market highs, continuation towards the upside here as well. So let's keep an eye out on Nvidia. As for AMD, nice push towards the upside yesterday. A little bit of an upper rejection here after having a pretty big upper wick. And now we're just consolidating and we're coming back up and towards that 280. So based off of the hourly time frame here, still technically forming somewhat of this flag pattern. We do have this upper wick. So not the perfect flag pattern here, but if it can close back above that 280, hold back above that 280, we can see that continuation back up and towards our all-time highs. So keep this in mind. If we can get that reclaim, we can see that push back up and towards our previous day highs, which is a little bit of a bigger upper wick here. It's at 288 here on AMD. All right, let's go on to Apple. Apple did have some news yesterday, of course, announcing its brand new CEO. Markets, a little bit of reaction here. So far, Apple does look good, of course, on the higher time frames as well. So every single dip so far, higher lows are being built on the daily time frame. We're starting to flip back towards the upside here. Next key levels is going to be all the way back up and towards our 280 and above. The key levels, at least for today, and what we have marked out is going to be our last week's highs, which is that 272. And of course, we have our previous day highs here as well. So nice kind of break retest on the lower time frames towards the upside. Now, if we can reclaim, still we could be looking for continuation higher, or now, of course, above our previous day highs, hold for that continuation back towards the upside here as well. So this is what we have for Apple. Still looks good here on the higher time frames. Google, similar thesis. Key levels that we do have 335 along with that 339. So keep an eye out on Google for a hold above our 335 for continuation towards the upside. If you're looking at this on the hourly time frame, still looks fairly good as long as you can maintain above that 335 for continuation. Microsoft, similar thing, nice, just kind of consolidating here on the hourly time frame. Now what we like to see is a reclaim back above our 420. Multiple touches here yesterday, the day previous, and on Thursday, reclaim back above. Hold above that level for continuation higher. If we reject, we're just going to see a little bit more consolidation, and then the reclaim back above 420 is going to be key. As for Meta, and you can see a couple of these names here. So a couple of these names kind of consolidating or pulling back compared to the Qs, which is already back at our last week's highs. So a couple of these names pulling back here. Now we're going to be waiting for the reclaim back above a couple of these ones, or the break outside of its trend line. As for Meta, the key levels I'm personally going to have marked out is going to be this high right here. I'm just going to readjust it just a little bit above our 676 for continuation towards the upside here on Meta for a pushback towards the highs. Amazon, we did have some news in the after hours, and now you can see this one, higher lows are being built. If we're looking at this one, right under all-time high, so we'll keep an eye out on Amazon coming to market open. If you're looking at this one from a 4-hour time frame, or you're looking at this on an hourly time frame, you can see gravitating back up and towards our all-time highs here today. What I would like to see here now on Amazon is the break above our last week's highs. So this one, higher lows are being built on the hourly time frame, gapping up into a key level of resistance. Now what we like to see on Amazon is the break and hold above our our last week's high. So if we're looking for longs are in play above our pre-market highs and also above this 256 for continuation up and towards our 260 and our all-time highs here coming to market open here on Amazon. So we'll keep an eye out for that coming into market open. Netflix, this one, not too much to talk about. It kind of rejected off of our earnings low. And then once it broke underneath our previous day lows, nice continuation towards the downside. So yesterday, the markets kind of dropped after rejecting off our gap level. So Netflix was really the only bearish ticker that had a bigger move towards the downside, at least for Netflix today. Keep an eye out on our low that we created here on Friday. If we reject, we can see continuation down in towards that previous day lows here and below. If we can reclaim, we can see a push back up and towards our previous day highs. So this is what we have for all the tech names coming to market open, right? SMH, of course, is still leading the markets higher. So all the semis look good for continuation. Nvidia above our previous day highs. AMD, if we can get above 280. And then we have a couple other names that we're looking for as well. But semis are on watch coming into market open here today. Going to go on to Palantir here in a second. We also do have some red folder news in a bit here as well. So we'll mark up some charts. We have some red folder news here at 8:30, and then I'll go on to a couple other names here. But if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. Seems like I'm going to let Walter in, but I'll grab some water here as well. All right, I'm back. Just had to let Walter in real quick. But let's go over a couple of charts here, starting off with Palantir. This one, really not too much to talk about. If you're looking at this one on the higher time frames, kind of coming right up and towards a key level here, which is that 150. Palantir above 148, potential continuation towards the upside. So coming into today, just keep an eye out on this Palantir. You can even mark out this level right here, which is that previous day highs, 148. And then, of course, you can mark out that 144. Longs are in play here above our previous day high. So Palantir, previous day high retest, or you're going to be looking for the retest above 149. We do have some room towards the upside, 150 and above here. So for a few other ones, Oracle and AVGO. AVGO, a little bit of rejections here off that 405. This one, in my opinion, looks really good for a push up and towards our all-time highs. This one's just first pullback here on the daily time frame. Most likely is going to get bought up. So keep an eye out on that first pullback here. Now for AVGO, key levels that you are going to have marked out is our 396 news candle high here as well. So yesterday, a little bit of rejection here off that previous day highs. Push down in towards that news candle high. For AVGO, I'd like to see base hold above that 396, continuation up in towards that 406. So keep an eye out on AVGO. And then for Oracle, this one above our previous day highs here now. Basically had an inside bar day. Now you like to see retest hold above our 178, continuation up in towards our 185 here and above. All right, we did have some red folder news here as well. We'll talk about this in a second. Let me pull this up. All right, we had some core retail sale numbers come out. So core retail sales month over month forecasted 1.4%, actual 1.9%. Retail sales month over month forecasted 1.4%, 1.7% is the actual. We do also have Trump speaking here as well. Overall markets, as you can see, fairly unchanged, kind of right at our previous day highs, also right at our Friday's highs here as well. So coming into market open here on both the SPY and the Qs, what we like to see, as I mentioned, is just the reaction that we have off this level. To simply put it, as long as you can maintain above 650, that's going to be the best case scenario for longs. If we break underneath the 650, I'm still going to be bullish just based off the higher time frames. Going to be intraday neutral, but the higher time frames, I'd like to just see it maintain above 650 for continuation. It could technically even come all the way back down towards that 645 and still be bullish. But obviously, if it did that, right, intraday would be bearish down in towards that previous day low. So let's keep an eye on that previous day highs along with that Friday's highs today. Similar thing here with SPY, previous day highs along with our Friday's highs. So the next level I can mark out here on the SPY, at least for today, is going to be that 710, and we can use that as a reference point. But basically, those are going to be the key levels that we have marked out. Now let's go into a couple other names. So MU. So MU, a little bit of a pullback here, just kind of consolidating. If you're looking at this on the daily time frame, I do like this one a lot, right? It's going to set up basically right what we have here is our all-time highs. We're going to kind of form this cup and handle here on the daily time frame or some sort of flag pattern on the lower time frames. But MU, as long as it can build these higher lows here on the daily chart, interested in for more of kind of like a swing position if it can break above now 480 for continuation higher. On the lower time frames, not too much is setting up here, so we'll wait for now. Most likely it's going to be the break above it's going to be a break above that 472 here on the higher time frames on MU. As for SNDK, this one shaping up, not too much has happened on this one. Yesterday tried breaking above, but now we're just kind of consolidating a little bit more. Now similar thing, break above our 940, similar game plan to yesterday, above our 490, hold above that 940 for that continuation towards the upside here. So keep an eye on SNDK. The more it consolidates, the better. Right, as you can see, higher lows are being built, coming up into a key level of resistance. Let's keep an eye, break and retest above 940, continuation up and towards that 980 coming to market open. Intel does have earnings coming up. That is going to be on Thursday. Nice little pullback yesterday, just right back down in towards key level. So if you're interested in Intel, 65 is going to be your reference point for the next like higher previous level of resistance turning into support. Now what we like to see is going to be the reclaim back above. It's going to be now this low right here, 68. You can draw this area out. This is the area that we also broke down from. So if you do want to see upside above our 68 for any sort of continuation higher, or now the bounce play here off our 65.50. Intel, as you can see, still looks very much intact, right? Higher lows are being built. If you do want to trade this, be a little bit more cautious with the earnings coming up, but your key level is going to be that 65. All right, let's talk about Hood. I do like Hood here as well, coming to market open. Let's keep an eye out for this one. Key levels that we do have marked out, higher lows are being built. What we have is our 93 key psych level. Previous day highs, also our Friday's highs. You can see higher lows are being built here on the hourly time frame. Let's keep an eye out on a Hood break above our 93. We do also have a gap fill towards the upside, 100 key psych level here as well. So let's keep an eye on Hood coming to market open above our previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. Another possible scenario is the hold above our 92, which is our previous day highs for this continuation towards the upside here as well. As for a few other tickers, CRWV shaping up fairly nicely. There's a bunch of other ones as well. MSTR still holding up along with Coin. Marvel ended up having this nice push yesterday, of course, with this gap up and then another pop here in the after hours as well. For Marvel, you're just going to mark out that previous day highs general area, and then you can also mark out that after hours highs. I'm going to mark this out to our pre-market highs of today. So these are the key levels on Marvel, continuation above, of course, your previous day highs for this pushback towards the upside. HIMS ended up having a nice push yesterday. Nice kind of bounce off the low. So there's a couple of things to keep an eye out for coming to market open. Let me go over a couple other tickers here as well. As for gold, let's go into USO. Haven't marked out this chart in a while, but as you can see here for USO, came all the way down, broke back underneath that 124 And now you can see, yes, or sorry, over the weekend, end up gapping up here, back up in towards that 124. So moving forward here, at least for oil, right, key level is just going to be this 124. You can see how many touches we have off this general area, right? You can see break above, hold, retest, continuation, came back down, held this level. Now you can see breaking back underneath. So very key inflection point here. If we reject, continuation right back towards the downside. Reclaim, you can see a potential move back towards the upside. So that's what we have for USO. Other names, yeah, ARM is pushing nicely here. If we're looking at this on the higher time frames, breaking out as well. So ARM looks fairly solid. Key levels that we have is going to be that all-time highs. Sorry, I'm not sure where all my levels went, but ARM key level all-time highs here. We are going to have that push up in towards this level. Plus, it's already rejected off this level multiple times. So the break above is going to send this a lot higher here as well. So ARM looking fairly solid here above our previous day highs. The key levels that we do have marked out now is going to be that previous day highs and that previous all-time highs. So keep an eye out on our previous day highs. Now break above our pre-market highs, continuation up in towards our all-time highs here is in play on ARM. Okay, coming into market open, I'm just going to go over my game plan for today, and then I'm going to get ready for market open here. So game plan today is above our 650, hold above that level for continuation towards the upside. If we do have a little bit of rejection right off the bat, we're going to be looking for the hold above our previous day highs along with our previous day close here for continuation higher. So as long as you can maintain above key levels, preferably above 650, that's going to be best for longs coming into market open. As for the SPY, similar thesis here, above our previous day highs for continuation. Sorry, this is above our last week's highs. It could come back down in towards our previous day highs, maintain, and then we could be looking for continuation towards the upside here as well. Top watch is coming to market open. Nvidia above our previous day highs for continuation. Nvidia does have an all-time highs play plus this gap fill. So let's keep an eye out on Nvidia coming to market open. This one looks fairly solid plus the gap fill all-time highs for continuation higher. So Nvidia above our previous day highs. AMD. This one's consolidating a little bit more after having a really big push, but AMD above 280 is in play here as well. As for the rest of the semis, we're SNDK above 940 coming to market open. And then the other tickers that I do like here is going to be, right, more of like an hourly setup. I like the semis the best, but Google bounce here off our previous day lows for continuation. Microsoft going to be the reclaim back above this 420 for a potential pushback towards the upside. Meta, similar reclaim here. Amazon is another one we can keep an eye out for. It's gapping up here, pretty big gap above our previous day highs. So we're going to have to use our pre-market levels plus our last week's key levels for continuation. But Amazon break above our pre-market highs for continuation. Another possible scenario is kind of a look below fail and reclaim for a pushback towards the upside here as well. But main watch is coming to market open, and the ones that are showing relative strength, Nvidia along with AMD in the pre-market. Oracle looks good as well along with AVGO, so keep an eye out on a 396. A lot of these ones are kind of basing more on the higher time frame, so if you are interested, make sure to stick to the 15 and 5-minute time frame for continuation higher. Yeah, besides that, we do also have a pretty big news. We have the Fed chair speaking later into the day. Trump is also speaking as well. So we'll see how that kind of shapes up with the markets. That is going to be at 10 a.m. So we'll also wait for that here as well. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. BE, I saw a couple of you guys typing in that one. Let's talk about this one here real quick. This one looks good, right? Higher time frames, all-time highs. Now what we like to see is really continuation above our key levels. So you can see the weekly time frame, nice strong candle close. If you're marking out daily levels, you can just mark out that 197, which is the area that it gapped up from. Next level that you're going to have marked out, you can mark out this level here as well, which is that first candle. So for BE, now we can just now what we just do is wait for the break above our previous day highs in this general area. So what we have here is our all-time highs, and we also have our 219. So what we like to see here, break above, hold, continuation up and towards that all-time highs. So that's what we have. Keep an eye out on our previous day highs coming to market open. Hold above 220 is going to be your key level here on BE. But yeah, that is a CAR is also one where it's going to keep moving higher, right? It hasn't had a gap up as of yet. So CAR, This one up another 5% here. I would be very cautious. Definitely don't look for longs here now. Don't try and chase longs towards the upside. You definitely don't want to try and short it. This one hasn't had a gap up as of yet. So once it has maybe one or two gaps, right? Parabolic short is in play here for CAR. Once it does have that gap up. So this is going to be the first day we have a gap up on CAR. So we can actually look for a potential short coming to market open. Right, we do have this gap fill lower that we can see a potential mean reversion on this ticker. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. As I mentioned, keep an eye out on the semiconductors that we do have. Main watch is going to be Nvidia along with AMD. We're going to keep an eye on the spine keys right at a key level. We do have Trump speaking. We do have that peace deal tomorrow, so we'll see what he mentions. Plus, we have Fed chair speaking later into today as well. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. We get ready for market open here now, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.